Do you think other couples make up words as often as we do?
I hope so for their sake, because it's fun.
Is that a me thing that I make up a lot of words and you just accept it now?
No, I feel like we make up some words.
Like to seal, to do something with little effort.
Yeah.
I think the etymology came from to seal into bed.
Yeah. After a shower.
If you take a shower.
And then you're like wet like a seal and you just like slide right into bed.
But you would dry yourself off.
Yeah. Oh, no, of course. But I mean, that's the idea.
That you would just go to bed right after your shower, not do anything else in between. Don't go have a meal or anything.
No.
So you're just directly into it.
Sealing right into bed.
Then if you walked up to a ride at Disneyland and there was no line, you just seal right into the ride.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So to seal, we use that a lot.
Little or no effort.
I use grump a lot. Like grump is a word, but because of the job I do, you have to use euphemisms because there's children around all the time. So I don't say like, oh, this guy's a real piece of shit. I was like, oh, he's a real grumble. And if someone was like ruining your day, you say like, yeah, he grumped me a little. Or like, were you pre-grumped or did he grump you? I was like, oh no, he grumped me, I think. Yeah. And I think that's a good one too.
You seem a little grumped today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But grumpy is a thing.
Grumpy is a thing, but grumped.
To grump someone.
Yeah.
Is to make them grumpy.
Yeah.
I think that works too.
I think so.
And then we could get into the whole grubble thing, but that's a
whole other thing.
Let's save it. Because we have a whole podcast to start.
Yes.
And if we have too much of an intro, people are going to be real grumped.
Oh, we don't want to grump our listeners.
Is like seal into an episode one day. Just start it off right away.
Just like, and my thing of the fortnight is?
Yeah, none of this preamble.
Yeah.
But we're not good at that.
Not today.
Hopefully you're not grumped out there, everyone.
Hopefully you're having a nice day and you're ready to hear about nice things.
All right. Well, what kind of nice things do you have for them for your thing of the fortnight?
My thing of the fortnight is, big shock, an audiobook. It's by Jodi Picoult, who I covered one of her other books called Wish You Were Here in episode 158 in 2023. And she also wrote a book called My Sister's Keeper, which came out in 2004. It was made into a movie. And I remember this one like really vividly. I remember reading it because it's about a little girl who was born to donate organs to her sister who's terminally ill. And she begins to question why she's even in the world as a teenager. And she has to make a decision to either save her sister or save herself.
Oh.
Yeah. But that's not what I'm talking about today.
I've actually read 4 books with that premise.
It was like a really big thing at the beginning of the 2000s. And then like as science has progressed and that is like possible now, it's very poignant, I think. But this is called By Any Other Name. It came out August 20th, 2024. So it's like fresh. And it is about a young playwright named Melina Green who has written a play inspired by the life of her Elizabethan ancestor, Amelia Bassano. Do you know about Amelia Bassano?
I do not.
So she is one of the people who is said to be one of the writers for Shakespeare. And so this book kind of explores both Melina's life as a playwright and Amelia's life as a playwright in Elizabethan times, and how a lot of their struggles, Melina's being a woman in a very male-dominated New York theater scene, and Amelia being a writer in a time when women weren't writers. So it was really interesting to kind of see their stories kind of weave together, and to see how Melina is like inspired by her ancestor. And then you kind of get this whole conflict in both stories. And while it is very different conflict, you can see them kind of move through the conflict together in very similar ways. And I don't want to give away the ending, but it was a really nice story to follow. And I was just totally enthralled by both Melina and Amelia because they really seem to like understand each other without ever having met.
Oh, that's fun. I feel like your last book was also this kind of multi-generational sort of thing.
I've kind of been into the multi-generational stuff this year. And it's really interesting. This one was a little bit more more generations in between these two. But it was just, it was really fun and colorful to see, and to see how much life has changed since the 1500s and how little it's changed since the 1500s.
Do they get into the Shakespeare parts?
Yes. So the Shakespeare part comes in at about halfway through, and you get to meet Shakespeare, and they use him as kind of almost like a theater broker. So he's buying plays of people who are not famous enough to sell plays, or who are women. And he's taking these plays and he's selling them to the theaters and helping stage them and that kind of thing, as the like ghost writer or fake writer, I guess. And so he is kind of just a merchant almost. Mm-hmm. And he has no talent. It's talked about quite widely in this book that he has no talent for writing, but he does have talent as a businessman. So he's able to put Amelia's plays out there, and they end up doing really well. And she does things like Hamlet and Romeo and Juliet and like all the famous ones. And it was really interesting to see Shakespeare kind of done in this different way. There's a lot of famous lines from Shakespeare dropped in the book. And Amelia actually says a lot of them just in her like day-to-day life. And it was kind of fun to read about like an alternate idea of who Shakespeare was.
I read so many of those things because I took several classes in Shakespeare, and I kind of hate them all.
Yeah?
They're like, well, he couldn't have written them all. And that's the basis. It's not like, well, this person said they wrote this. It's just, probably not. It's kind of like the aliens built the pyramids.
Yeah.
Like, well, they couldn't do it. We have no inclination or any evidence that aliens did it, but that must be aliens.
Yeah,
it's kind of the same way with
aliens.
Shakespeare writing. And I always thought it's kind of a shame things like, what was that one? Was there one called Shakespeare's Sister?
Possibly. Yeah.
About women who were actually Shakespeare. And I get the motivation, but I feel like you're doing the opposite with a lot of those, because you're saying like, look at all these women. They could have been Shakespeare rather than women who actually did write. Because she wrote. Yes. She was a poet herself.
Amelia Bassano was the first woman poet in England.
Yes.
Who like published under her own name.
So, because I didn't know the name because I think she was published under Lanier.
Yes, that was her.
So they could celebrate that and not make up stuff would be like cool too. Because I thought the only theories about her and Shakespeare were, which sonnets were it? The sonnets in the 130s with the dark lady. That is about her.
Yeah, so
she's the lady with the wiry hair.
Yeah,
I did that sonnet. Remember the other day, someone April asked me to recite a poem.
Oh yeah,
and I did one.
Oh, that's so funny.
It was about her.
Oh, that's so funny because I've been listening to this book like all weekend. We were just away on like a family camping trip.
And I'm such a nerd that I at one point tried to recite a sonnet. Oh, that's sad.
So funny. I love that about you and your ability to recite sonnets.
But I couldn't.
No.
But that was apparently about her, or some people think.
Yes, and she is referred to as the Dark Lady. I took this whole thing with like a grain of salt, and I feel like Jodi Picoult created such a rich world for Amelia that it was kind of a fun suspension of reality to like hear about this person that could have been Shakespeare. I'm not like this is in no way like historical proof that she is.
No,
but it was really cool to get to kind of to learn about her and to like play pretend for a little bit, which is what I love about books.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is By Any Other Name by Jodi Picoult. And it is brand new, so everyone go read it. Indy, what is your thing of the fortnight?
Well, I'm going to go kind of new as well because, I only listen to old music a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So this is, I don't know what we're going to call this segment, Indy's Music for the Kids.
Oh, music for the kids.
Indy relates to the youth of today.
Indy
something
and the
like that. Because I'm going to give you 3 things, but I'm just going to do them real quick to prove that I listen to people under the age of 25 who are making music now.
Whoa, I'm excited.
I don't have many of them, but here are 3 that I like a lot. So first is an artist called Meduulla, and she is from North Manchester. She's a rapper, and she's a first-generation immigrant. Her parents came from Zimbabwe, and a lot of her music is about that. So let's listen to her song called Limbo.
How do I know where my limbs reside? Living 2 lives trying to synchronize. Don't get me wrong, I'm a simple guy, trying to find peace in a simple life. Hear he, the court's in order. I've got something to say, tell your son, tell your daughter. I ain't gonna change myself, I'm not a damn contorter. You get with the program or you stay behind the border. That's an order from me, cordially. I speak the Queen's English cause I'm royal to thee, and it's better when I kiss you in the language you speak, so you understand and overstand the message I mean monogamy has never been the one for me. I've always been in love with 2 lands from across the sea. I got him my home and you my harbour, forcing me to pick like it's would you rather. You see, you were my first love, idealistic, can't see a future but for now we're in sync. Loving you, it kind of felt naturalistic, but you knew we couldn't hack the distance, so I moved upstream to a different place, learned the ways of the land, got a different bay. Real soon bare lies began to marinate. Luckily I never bought the bait.
So now when she talks a lot about that kind of gray area of being stuck between 2 lands, and I appreciate that. She also has this kind of production that is like, it's jazzy. It's done by this collective out of Manchester as well called The Mouse Outfit. And they do this, it's kind of like a jazzy hip hop. And it reminds me of a lot of early 90s stuff, like Tribe Called Quest is probably the most apparent. And of course it appeals to me because it sounds like it's from 1992. But to prove that she is youthful, when I tried to look her up and find out more about her, the first thing I got were her makeup tutorials on TikTok.
Oh, I remember you telling me about that.
That I listen to young people, because that's music is a lot different now in where these people are coming from and how artists are putting themselves out there. Because, Q-Tip wasn't on TikTok because it didn't exist. So it's cool that she has a very different way of getting music out there, but it still seems very much in the vein of a lot of things that I grew up with. So a lot of these things are going to be like, hey, it's new, but it sounds like something old.
Yeah, I think that if you played this for me, which you have, but if I didn't know who it was, I would think it was from before.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the production on that one. So that is Meduulla, and she put out an album called Oblongata, and that song was called Limbo.
Nice.
Let's do another one real quick. And this is a band called Haku, Haku, and it always has a period.
Oh.
And I know so little about this band because they are Japanese, but they aren't terribly successful or international, so I can't find anything in English, and I can't read Japanese. So via Google Translate, what I learned is that they are a 4-piece, all-girl band, and the average age is 20. I don't know why they listed their average age of the band rather than the band members, but there you go.
Give me the names.
So
and
maybe
ages.
someone's 17 and someone's 23. Who knows?
Somewhere in there.
And they're mainly out of Osaka, and they have been releasing music pretty steadily over the last 3 years. So we are going to listen to a song from Haku called DDD.
Fun.
Yeah, I like them a lot. I've been listening to them a good bit, and they remind me of kind of that early 2000s indie rock that I was listening to so much of as a teenager, really. And back then I would get demo CDs from record labels because that's how you could like find out about new upcoming bands. You could get the demos, so they weren't like the finished product, and oftentimes it'd be really different when you'd actually hear them. But I was listening to early demos of Giant Drag and Interpol and TV on the Radio. And it's not that this band sounds like those bands, but it just kind of brings me back to that time. There's definitely something in the guitar that I can't pinpoint who it is. Like, does it remind me of the Kills? No, I don't think that's it. But there's
very
something
fun, though. Like, I really liked it.
Yeah, it just reminds me of early 2000s indie rock. And you can tell that they have a lot of pop influences. And they're a younger band, probably still trying to figure things out. It seems like a band that I would go see when I was 19. And they're like, oh, yeah, my friend's playing this show. And you go, and it'd be this. And you'd have a great time. Yeah. So I've been listening to them a lot. They put out quite a bit of music, so go check them out. They are called Haku. And then I have one more band of young people for you to listen to. And
why do you sound so old when you say
because
that?
I'm making a point of not being old. Because nobody can tell how old I am on this show. Because all the music and movies I talk about are usually from the 70s. Right. So I'm trying to be, hip and with the kids.
So hip. So with the kids.
My last band of young folks is called Glass Beams. And Glass Beams, I also have very little to say about them because they won't tell you anything. So they formed in 2020 during the lockdown, and they don't tell you their names. So I don't know who's in the band, but they put out an EP called Mirage in 2021. They don't do any press. They don't do any advertisements. Oh. So you can't find out anything about them. I went to their website and it has zero info. It just has how to buy the albums, but it won't tell you anything about them. And only one of the members' name has been made public because I think he did something when they were new. He did one interview or something. So we know that one guy's name is Rajan. Oh. So that's something. And in all of their public appearances, they also wear these ornate gold bejeweled glass masks.
Oh, yeah.
So their faces are always covered. They won't tell you who they are. But they're a lot of fun. But not fun in the same way as Haku is fun. But they're very interesting. So let's listen to a song called Mahal from their 2024 album, also called Mahal.
Psychedelic.
Oh, there you go. You've learned a lot about psychedelic rock in the last year.
I have, but that feels very on brand for you.
Yeah, so it has some psychedelic rock influences, a lot of Indian influence as well. There's some sitars going on. I don't know where all the band members are from, but the name of the album is also Mahal, so maybe there's a lot of homage to Indian music in there, but it's good. I like it. It's good bedtime music. I've listened to it at night a lot.
It is nice. It's very vibey.
They don't sing much or at all. Like the little oohs you heard in that song, that's as much vocal as you'll ever get from them. So they don't use words. They don't tell you who they are. And they just make this music and they hope you find it. So I found it. So you should go find it too. They are called Glass Beams. And that album is called Mahal. So those are my 3 acts that are under the age of 25 to prove that I don't only listen to music from the 70s. Do you listen to any musicians that you've never seen their face?
No.
Because I feel like there's a few different bands that do that. Like MF Doom was like that. Although there was a picture out there, And Goat. I don't think Goat ever tells you who they are. And then Glass Beams. You don't know who they are?
We saw someone at Folk Fest a couple of years ago who didn't show his face.
Oh, and Orville Peck never shows his face.
Orville Peck, yes. Yeah. So that it kind of is like a thing that some artists choose to do. And I feel like Orville Peck is like gain popularity because he doesn't show his face.
Oh, maybe.
Like it's more mystery. He has a great array of fringy masks that he wears.
I gotta say, I think I prefer the Glass Beams masks.
They are sparkly. In
my ranking of musicians whose faces I never see, I'm gonna go Goat first. Although not all the time. Their best ones are the best. Then probably MF Doom. Then probably Glass Beams, and Orville Peck's at the end. That's how good those other masks are.
Interesting. Okay.
Well, that we've done my musician mask rankings. Next, Sam, what are we going to watch for the next big watch?
Well, you requested a mid-2000s rom-com.
Yes, that's true.
And then you mentioned Katherine Heigl.
I hadn't talked with you beforehand, but we were picking each other's, and Samantha had never seen Jurassic Park, and she knows that I liked it, so that's what we did last time. Sam watches a lot of early 2000s and mid-2000s romantic comedies. I don't know if I've ever seen a Katherine Heigl one, because I kind of liked older ones, perhaps. Yeah. But Katherine Heigl is a big blind spot for me. I'm not familiar with her work.
Yeah, so you requested a Katherine Heigl movie, so I decided to do the 2008 romantic comedy 27 Dresses.
All right. I've heard of this movie.
Yes, it's one that you definitely would have heard of. It stars Katherine Heigl, James Marsden.
Oh, James Marsden.
Yeah.
Is he the lead, the romantic lead?
We'll see.
Okay.
Malin Ackerman, Judy Greer, and Edward Burns.
There are two people in that I really like.
Yeah. It was written by Alain Brosh, who wrote The Devil Wears Prada, which is another great movie. And it was directed by Anne Fletcher, who directed the first Step Up movie. We've got some big names here, and I'm really excited to see what you think of it.
Very curious. The script coming from someone who's written good scripts, that's promising. I think Judy Greer is to comedy as Linda Cardellini is to drama.
Yeah.
I love Judy Greer. I think she's fantastic and so funny. Malin Ackerman, I actually like her quite a bit too.
She's pretty great.
I first started watching her a lot on Children's Hospital.
Oh,
she's very good on that.
You better not be Googling it right now because you're going to ruin it.
Oh, I don't think I need to.
Okay.
And who'd you say else was in it? Cyclops.
James Marsden.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited because I honestly don't know that I've seen this since mid-2000s. It's always been very available. It's on Disney Plus right now. And I don't know why I haven't seen it recently.
So was this one that you really liked back then?
Yes, I do remember really liking this one. This was when I was working downtown and I'd get off work like mid-afternoon. So I'd go and see a movie in the afternoon. And this was one that I saw by myself. So I remember liking it. I remember how big like the hype of this one was. Everyone was so excited about it. So I'm interested to know if it stands up.
Do I get to know anything about the premise? I think it's one of two things, and either I've made both up in my mind or one is the real one.
Okay, tell me your things. I'm not gonna I might not tell you if it's right or not.
The main character, I assume Katherine Heigl, has been engaged 27 times and it never went through. Or she's been a bridesmaid 27 times, or 26 times maybe, and then like the last dress is going to be the wedding dress. Something to do with there were many dresses where she was not the one. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride, is my theory. And then we're going to see her get married. Either that, or what I think would be a good movie with this title also is that she's engaged and she's trying on dresses. and it's the 27th one that is the one. But then in that kind of movie, you would also have to be engaged to the bad guy first, and then somewhere along the line switch over to the good guy, who I assume is James Marsden.
I'd see all those movies, so we'll see.
All right.
Yeah, so this one, it cost $30 million to make. It made $162.7 million. And it was totally huge.
It was totally huge.
It was everywhere. It was huge. And I don't know. I feel like we've watched movies from this time in like the 2000s that haven't aged well. Looking at you, Bring It On. And
Bring It On's your favorite movie.
No, it is. But I mean, like, some of the jokes are just like, they wouldn't fly now.
They have one bit in Bring It On.
Yeah. But I'm worried that this one might fall into that same.
Oh, is this homophobic?
I don't know. I don't know. Because like I said, I haven't seen it in a very long time. So let's watch it and we'll see. And we'll be back next week with a critique.
All right. So I assume Judy Greer's got to be the funny best friend, because they wouldn't put her as like a rival type. You wouldn't cast her as that, would you? But then who's like the bad guy? There has to be like a guy that they're with first that they have to get rid of to go to the good guy. Marsden could play either, really. He could do shit up.
I've seen him do both. Yeah.
My very favorite thing about, and I don't know that this is a cookie cutter romantic comedy, but there are a lot of those.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about those is the casting, because you can just look at the cast list and be like, you're this person, you're this person, and you can just like.
It is very like, there's benchmarks you have to hit, and there's people you hire to hit those benchmarks.
Yeah. And for some reason, it's often Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
I never got the appeal of him.
Yeah, I thought about doing, because there's a Katherine Heigl, Gerard Butler movie.
Aren't there more than one?
I thought there was only one.
I haven't seen any, so you'd be the expert. Maybe it feels to me like there are many.
But I decided to do this one because I do remember enjoying it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad you went with one that you like and not one with Gerard Butler. Is she charming?
This is like peak Katherine Heigl. So
she was huge for a time.
I was so sad. I was very late to the train on Grey's Anatomy, so she'd long left the show. But I was sad that she left the show. But then she went on to do all this other stuff and became this like mega superstar. So,
but then she kind of stopped.
Yeah, I don't know what she's done kind of lately, but...
Because I really want to look at her IMDb right now to see if I've ever seen a Katherine Heigl movie, because I can't think of one.
She's been doing television lately. Who knows?
Katherine Heigl knows.
Yeah, I guess
And we are going to know soon enough.
Next week.
Where we start part 1 of our Katherine Heigl series.
Deep dive, yeah. Okay, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.